What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the AEW Unmatched Collection Series 2 Sting. And so here we have the AEW Unmatched Sting posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories. Sting does come with 2 pairs of hands. We do get a pair of fists. We get a right grip hand. And we get a semi-relaxed left hand. He of course comes with his signature baseball bat, which looks really nice. And then he does come with a rubber trench coat, which unfortunately isn't soft goods. Other than that, Sting doesn't come with anything else, so let's actually move on to his details. So here we have a closer look at the Unmatched Sting, and I have to say, Jazzware actually did a really good job with this figure. Now, it's not 100% accurate to Sting. I still feel like all his figures have been very generous with his hairline, but that's pretty much how all action figures are. They're more generous than they really are. I do like the face paint on this figure. It looks really clean, with the exception of like 2 imperfections. You see right here on his left eye, there's some white paint showing, and then right here on his hair some black paint. It's not a big deal. I do like the way he came out. The face paint looks really nice. And one thing I am glad about is that they actually cast his head in flesh tone plastic and then painted the white and the black, so really good job there. Does look a lot like Mr. Sting, and the hair is the proper length, although like I said, it's a little bit generous on the hairline and he is missing his bald spot. But again, action figures tend to not add imperfections like that. Really do like his goatee right here. So overall, really good head sculpt on Sting. Now let's actually move on to his torso, where I feel there's a lot of things going wrong with this. Okay, so for starters, there is no line to signify where the shirt ends and where his neck starts, at least at the front. In the back you can obviously see a little ridge right here that does signify where the skin tone should start. Here at the front, it's pretty much all the same. There's no texture, there's no lip that indicates where his flesh tone should actually start. But yeah, it is a little bit noticeable because it does look just painted on right here. It kind of feels like it should come down a little bit more, but then that wouldn't make sense. It's a little bit strange, to be quite honest, that they didn't add as much texturing on the front like they did the back. It's still a really nice sculpt. And you can see right here, it does have his AEW, the Icon Sting shirt, which I think looks really impressive. Really good job there. They did a good job capturing the look of the shirt. And then of course we have the AEW emblem right there. Nothing on the back. It's just basically a black long sleeve shirt, which I would have liked to see Sting in full ring gear, although at the time that this figure was in production, he didn't really have a match in AEW. He just kind of stood there and pointed. Yeah, not really that exciting, but it was nice seeing Sting on TV again. And then you can see I do have him with his fist. And one thing I do like is the overall texturing on his outfit. It looks really good. You can see all the wrinkles in the shirt. I feel like maybe the sleeves are a little bit too wrinkly, but then again, if they're under the trench coat, that is going to happen in real life. So yeah, that's pretty cool there. But really good detailing here. Now, unfortunately, it is a little bit noticeable where his waist joint is, and it's really obvious that they didn't engineer this properly, and this is what I'm going to go on about for a little bit. I don't understand how this waist joint is even supposed to function. It's a ball joint that goes onto the torso, which it should have forward and back mobility, but they evened it out right here on his shirt and on his crotch piece, so when you have them like that, there's virtually no back and forth movement. It's very minuscule, so that ball joint is essentially just a swivel joint, so don't understand why they did that. But moving on to the rest of his outfit, he is wearing his wrestling singlet underneath his shirt, where you can see the scorpions coming down and around with a tail. I do like the fact that they kept the padding right here on his thighs and on his knees, although you can see a difference in plastics. This is a harder plastic than the knees, and that's pretty much what we see on a lot of action figures. It's not a bad detail, but it is something to note that we do have different texturing. You can fix that up with some Mod Podge or a clear coat, so it's not a big deal. I still think it looks fine from a distance. And then we go on to his ring boots, where he is just wearing standard ring boots with the scorpion emblem on them. That looks really cool. I do like the fact that it is done in silver rather than white. Looking very good there. So overall, Sting here has some pretty good detail. I do like the paint, and it looks really nice. The amount of effort they went into this figure is pretty good. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Sting compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Sting posed next to an Ultimate Edition Brock Lesnar and a basic Jeff Hardy. Here we have Sting posed next to an Unrivaled Edition Kenny Omega. And for one final comparison, here we do have the AEW Unmatched Sting posed next to the WWE Defining Moment Sting. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Sting's articulation. Now, Sting does have a hinge in the neck, which does let him look up and down. It is on a slight ball joint. Unfortunately, we don't get too much movement out of it. That's about as much as we get. Does turn left and right, no problem. Arms are on pin joints, so they do go out to the side, no problem. Go all the way around. He does have a bicep swivel. Double bend here at the elbow, going way past 90, so I do like that. We do have a swivel hinge here at the wrist, and they all function the same, although I still feel like the AEW figures have the hinge too far up the wrist. I know it's a little more accurate to how the wrist is supposed to hinge, but on an action figure, it kind of looks a little bit strange, to be quite honest. But anyway, moving on to the rest of his articulation, he does have a ball joint here in the torso, which does lean back about that far. Does lean forward, not the best. Side to side. Rotation works fine. Then again, we do have a ball joint here at the waist, but that's about all you get, and very little side to side, but it does rotate, so there is something. Legs only kick out to about that far, which is a little bit disappointing, but I guess for a 62-year-old man, that's pretty good, I guess. Out to the side, that's fairly decent. Does it go further? Nope, that's about as far out as it goes. We do have thigh swivel, which works fine, although it feels like it might be at an angle, and I really don't like when companies angle the thigh joints. It just never makes sense. Double jointed knee goes all the way back. You can see he kicks the lower part of his back really nicely. Does swivel here at the boot. Has a hinge in the ankle going back and forward. And then of course we do have forward facing pin for rocker ankle. So overall, the Icon Sting has some pretty good articulation. With that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the AEW Unmatched Sting posed for my final thoughts, and overall I think Jazzware has done a pretty good job with this figure. Now, there are some things I'm not a fan of, mainly the rubber jacket. It's one of those things that I felt that AEW figures should have done differently than WWE figures, is give them soft goods jackets and entrance gears. That would have looked so much better than this rubber jacket. Even though I do get that Sting's jacket has a lot of detail, which would have been hard to replicate in this scale, I still feel like they could have done a soft goods version of it and still make it work, because I think having the jacket on him does limit so much of his articulation. However, I will give him this. Sting really doesn't do much in AEW other than just stand there. Once in a while he'll get involved in a match, but most of the time he just stands there with Darby Allin, not really doing anything but being menacing. So I guess it does serve its purpose if you're using him that way. As far as an action figure goes, yeah, he has some serious issues. The ab crunch on him really doesn't work. The ball joint in the waist is absolutely terrible. The leg articulation reeks of terrible options, because this is a really good looking figure, but he really doesn't move like you would want an action figure to do. And I get that he is a 62-year-old man, but that shouldn't limit the articulation of an action figure. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad action figure by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying that it's not well thought out. They could have done so much more with it, and it would have been a much better action figure. Now, if you are looking for Sting, the Unmatched Series 2 is starting to hit stores at the time I'm making this video. However, Sting is one of the harder figures to find, and he does have a chase variant where half his face paint, I believe, is Darby Allin's. That might be the Walmart exclusive version. I might be remembering that wrong. But Sting here is probably going to be one of the harder figures to find in Series 2, because he is such an important character in wrestling in general. Now, it is a little bit of a shame that we missed out on the WWE Legend Series Sting to get this figure. I kind of feel like they should have waited just a little bit to give us the Sting and this Sting, but I'm still really happy that I have a new Sting figure in my collection. With that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other AEW videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.